I will eventually be replacing this, and I've now decided. Ladies and gents, 12,000 mile update on my Mazda CX-50 Turbo Premium Plus 2023 model year. Bone stock. I just added this trailer hitch that I installed myself. Just have to drill out a little piece of plastic, not a big deal. And we did some tint, stock wheels, stock rubber. I've done 2 oil changes. I had a failed lower control arm in the front suspension here. We got that fixed under warranty. We're out here in the mountains of Southern California. Ooh, we're gonna do some off-roading right here, see? Yeah! I was reviewing a G80 M3 and the phone slipped out of my pocket. The owner had to rush, and before I could tell him, hey, my car... Oops. Before I could tell him, hey, my phone slipped out into your car on the driver's seat, he already bounced. So I'm actually using the navigation with the Mazda to take me back home to my hotel. So we'll see if this is any good. First time using it since normally you just use CarPlay. All right, so on the HUD, you can actually see the navigation, which is awesome. The only time you see that on your HUD is if you're using Apple Maps with your Apple CarPlay, with your iPhone, and I think with your Android, it probably would work with like Google, I don't know. But it also works with your navigation, I'm learning today. Overall, I've had this car now for a year and a half, 12,700 miles, and I love it. I mean, for what it is, I think it is fantastic, although I have had a few issues recently. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that. First off, we talked about the lower control arm failing and that having to be replaced. But something recently has been happening where at lower speeds, there's some hesitation with the transmission, some jerkiness. I never had that until the last month or two. I'm not sure what's causing that. It seems to be... I thought it was only when the fluids are cold, when you first start up the engine. But what I'm seeing now is that even after a long drive, I come back, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I'm trying to figure out the pattern here, what's going on. Hopefully we don't have some major transmission issues in the near future. This car is, of course, still under warranty. I think it's 3 years, 36,000 miles, if I'm not mistaken. The cruise control. Adaptive cruise control is horrendous. I use it a lot driving from Las Vegas to get down here to Southern California, and they're just, it's so inconsistent. When a car accelerates in front of you, it's a little bit slow to respond and accelerate as well at times, and the number of false positives slowing down is just way too high. So essentially, cars in lanes to either side, regardless of whether it's a turn left or turn right, are gonna throw this vehicle off, and it'll just start braking when it has no need to. So I'm finding myself a little bit frustrated by the adaptive cruise control, which, you know, day to day I don't really use, but when I'm on these road trips and I'm driving a few hundred miles, I'd like to be able to use it, but it just, more often than not, it's not working as designed. But apart from that, I mean, I love the way it drives. Driving in these canyons right now, is this a sports car? Obviously not. Is this a Macan? Still no. But it drives, it's essentially the next best thing. It drives a lot better than a compact CUV should. And when you drive something like a CX-5 or RAV4, you know, anything from Honda and Hyundai, etc., nothing drives as well as this. It's comfortable, it's sporty, steering is amazing. I wish more sports cars had steering this good. It is that solid, I kid you not. And I think at the price point, it's hard to beat. The Turbo Premium Plus is the one you want, because if you go with the naturally aspirated base engine, it's gonna feel a little bit sluggish. This one, I think, feels pretty quick for what the car is, although my girlfriend complains that it's not nearly as quick as her Audi S4. I'm like, apples and oranges, come on, apples and oranges. You can't compare this to an Audi S4.
Los Angeles. In 500 feet, turn right towards Los Angeles.
Other things, I think it's kind of interesting, comical even, how polarizing the CX-50 versus CX-5 discussion is. You'll see people who are like, CX-5 is way better build quality, and made in Japan, and better this, better that. And I'm like, me and my car enthusiast friends are like, dude, the CX-50 drives way better. Stiffer suspension, sure, it has a inferior torsion beam rear suspension, but 95% of the time, you have no idea. It's really only when you're going over uneven surfaces that you notice that difference. And the rest of everything being buttoned down, better steering, sharper front end, sportier suspension, that all makes this drive a lot nicer. It also has the updated infotainment system, updated buttons and icons. I know it sounds silly, but even something as little as the sound of the indicator, it's so nice and crisp. The icons on the buttons, the newer style, it doesn't look so old and so, I don't know, pedestrian. It feels a little bit more special in this cabin than the CX-5, in my opinion. Is it a luxurious cabin? No. It's a little bit premium though, for sure. I got some weird touches like this horror movie stitching, the vent right here that kind of, doesn't really flow with everything else. But these are small things that I don't mind. I'm really happy with this car, although I'll admit a little bit cautious, maybe even apprehensive because of the lower control arm issue and now the transmission having this slight shuddering thing at low speeds. Hope that's nothing serious. But man, driving this on these canyons, just driving it at 4/10, 5/10, it's still fun. It's still enjoyable. And that's not something that I would expect to have said about a Mazda CUV ever, right? I was one of those hardcore, die-hard sports cars or sports sedans. Who needs an SUV? Just get a four-door if you need more practicality. But something like this, I'm really enjoying. I fit my bicycle in the back here. We're doing a lot more road cycling recently. I also have the rear tow hitch so that when I want to put on my bike rack and get a second bike or a third bike, if I'm going with my girlfriend or other friends, I can take more than just one bike. Man, the steering though, the steering on this is ridiculously good. Old sporty CUV. I am going to be filming a video comparing the 2023, this model year, to the 2024, because they did make some suspension changes and some steering changes. And the question is, in the pursuit of making most people happy, to go a little bit more mainstream, did they numb out the beauty of the steering? Did they make it a little bit more pedestrian, a little bit less special, like it is in this car? I don't know. We're gonna see. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that. Some other concerns that people have, the fuel efficiency. Yeah, I'm at a point in my life where if a car is getting 20 miles per gallon versus 30, not the end of the world. So would I like better fuel efficiency? Yeah, sure, of course. But it's not that big of a deal to me. I also use unleaded. I don't feel the need to go premium because this will actually adjust the timing. You make more power when you have 91 or 93 octane. I'm putting in 87. I don't notice a difference in my fuel efficiency. And since I don't drive this thing super hard, I'm mostly just commuting, going to the gym, getting groceries, etc. I don't feel the need to have that extra oomph. Some other concerns I've seen commenters have is that this sunroof barely opens. It only opens maybe 6-8 inches, and that's fine. I never open that thing anyways. I just want the sunlight through it. I'm not really one to drive around with the sunroof open, but that might bother some people. The transmission being a 6-speed, as I said in previous videos, it doesn't matter. You have such usable torque band and smooth shifts and good enough logic. That's all you really need. I have commented there is a little bit of incongruence with some of the inputs to the vehicle, and the Mazda apologists will come out and say, oh no, it's like just put it in sport mode, and yeah, you can do it in sport mode, but it's going to hold the revs higher, and now your fuel efficiency is going to go even further down. It's just that as someone who wants to tell you all the nitty gritty, I'm going to tell you the inputs are a little bit incongruent. The steering is very sporty, very direct, brake and throttle, not always to the same degree, but again, you adjust to that, not a big deal. And the way I feel is that we should be able to talk about cars and other things in life factually, right? Without worrying about, sometimes we get defensive, like, oh, this is my car, therefore I want to say only nice things about it. No, like, what's the harm in just being real with it? You don't need to be in denial yourself. I keep it real with you guys. I'm going to tell you what I like and don't like about my own cars. My Amira, I love that car, but it's not perfect, right? I love this car, but it's not perfect. So if you like that kind of stuff, we got a lot more coming. We filmed some pretty epic cars today. I'm going to leave it as a surprise. Insane stuff that I never thought I would drive. Cars that are worth as much as my house. And in terms of long-term prospects, I will eventually be replacing this, and I've now decided. And by the way, for those who didn't see the previous video, the main reason I want to replace this is because when I get a track toy, I want to be able to tow it to and from the track. So this can't tow. I think this has like a 3,500 pound tow limit. Obviously you're not towing a track toy with a trailer with that weight limit. So I was between BMW X5, Mazda CX-50, CX-90, a few other options out there. And after driving my buddy Bryce's BMW X5 xDrive 40i, I think that's going to be my next vehicle, because you can get those used at a pretty steep discount, and the B58 engine, rock solid. Maybe not Toyota levels of reliability, but solid enough for me. But I'm only going to get that once I get my new track toy, and I've tried out a few E46s. I've tried out multiple S2000s over the past few years. And I'm leaning towards S2000, honestly. I think S2000 is going to be a light, tossable, fun, sharp front end, double wishbone kind of vehicle that I like. The E46 is fantastic out of the box, but if I'm willing to put in the money to modify it, I think the S2000 is going to appeal to my proclivities a little bit more, if you know what I mean. I will also be tracking the Lotus Emira, although, you know, I'm going to track it here and there. I'm not going to go 10/10ths every single time. That's an expensive car that is going to be a lot harder for me to replace and fix if something happens to it, whereas an S2000, easier pill to swallow, right? Much more comfortable pushing that, taking it to the ragged edge time after time. And consumables also a lot cheaper on that vehicle. So my friends, let's hope I can hunt down my missing iPhone in Brendan's G80 M3 as I drive here with Mazda's navigation. But hey, not so bad so far. We'll see if I get to my hotel in one piece without issue. My friends, subscribe if you haven't already. If you want your car reviewed, visit us on Jubbal and Cars. Fill out the form on the homepage. Much love, and I'll see you all in the next one.